Hello, Charlie TCG here, and welcome back. So looking ahead, the series where I break down and analyse the meta, what's happening over Japan, and how will it impact Arm. Today, we're looking at the rise of Gholdengo EX in this format. Why has this deck kind of gone from being getting a few new cards to being one of the most popular decks right now on the online sort of tournament? How has this impacted what the format looks like in Japan, or what can we learn from over Japan to add into our sort of decks as we gear up to the World Championships in just a few weeks' time? First, we've got a full breakdown and release of Mega Evolutions, the brand new set which Japan is actually getting on Friday. We're going to get at the end of September time. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about the very sad loss we did get of Justin Basil, who passed away this past weekend. He was a huge member of our community, always doing these translation posts, and I've been using them for many years on this channel as a main way to showcase what these new exciting cards are. He truly will be missed in this community, and I was so excited looking at these sort of cards on Friday and absolutely devastated to hear his passing on Saturday morning for me. So I'm just again really sorry to hear about his passing. My huge thoughts are with his family right now, and wherever he is, I hope he is resting easy because he's done an amazing and we've lost a huge member of our community. So look, we've got a ton of new cards to look at, and the first one is Mega Miniature EX. This is my favorite Mega. I played a lot of it with the regular EX back in Phantom Forces, and this one here, I'm definitely going to be playing this one. So it has 2 attacks, Flash Ray for 2 lightning, that's 120 damage, and then prevent all damage done to this Pokemon from basic Pokemon, very protection, and for 3 lightning, Riot Blast, so does 200 damage, and then if you discard all energies attached to this one, it does 130 damage. Now this is amazing. This does 130 damage, KO nearly every single thing in the format. Oh wait, Megas now have 350, 380 HP now. We can't get a big one-hit kill on everything, which can be a really big, devastating loss. Granted, all of these are free prizes, but it's still incredibly powerful to do so much damage. In the lightning types, we have amazing resources like Horizon for setup, electric generator for energy acceleration, and electric to actually keep the energy acceleration from our discard pile. So I really like this. I'm definitely going to be building this deck, but overall, not as powerful, but I really am a huge fan. Mega Kangaskhan EX, I think it's going to be much more of a wall-style Pokemon. With a 300 HP, check of a basic free-prize Pokemon, which is really terrifying. Check a Hero Escape, you've got 400 HP. And also, with a colorless Pokemon, so you can activate Boothmon to reduce the damage output. So also, it can have nearly 500 HP to KO other basic Pokemon, which is absolutely terrifying. With an amazing ability, which fits in the active spot, is draw 2 cards. I can't utilize this, you don't utilize this once per turn, but just seeing 2 extra cards in potentially a story style strategy with pennies and churros is absolutely terrifying. The attack for 3 colorless energy, so it can easily accelerate with a Christmas and some energy switches, does 200 damage, and then move until you get tails and 50 more for each heads. So you could do a minimum of 200 damage, or you can do a maximum of like 2000 damage. So I think this is a really powerful sort of attacking option and a great sort of card. Mega Character EX is the bonus of attacking deck, which we've been looking for in such a long time. So a 340 HP, which is insane, for 1 fire energy does 80 damage, and if the opponent's Pokemon is burned, do 160 more damage. So 240 damage for 1 energy is really powerful. Mega Miniature does 120 for 2. Yes, this is a very powerful card. When we think about like Volcanion to activate burn your opponent's active Pokemon, you get Mad Monster, so your burns do even more damage. And all of a sudden, you can do nearly 300 damage, and also can knock it out going into your opponent's turn, or potentially going into your turn, which I think is really strong right now in this sort of new format. I don't think I'm ever going to use Other Attack for 5 energies to do 280 damage, discard 2 energies to this Pokemon, but Roasted Heat is really powerful and will absolutely pack a punch. Mega Bomber Snow EX is definitely much more of a bulk sort of card. 2 water, you can do 100 damage, and you get to discard the top 6 cards of your deck, and there's 100 more for each basic water energy you find them. We have some good ways to stack the deck. Now, the Gumshoes, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, we have Night, we have Psychomatic Scope Breaking, so we have multiple ways to stack the deck to do more sort of damage that way, but overall, not as strong as I would have hoped for. The other attack for 3 water, 200 damage, reduce it by 30. Not exactly the strongest. Overall, I think the Megas have been quite well balanced. We've got some absolutely broken ones, some pretty average for the mill, and definitely some bulk sort of fodder one. I do think goodbye to regular X's and now just these Megas. I'm excited to see exactly where this could potentially go. Now I've got some other new cards to look at. Necanium is out here. We did have to get the return of Forest of Giant Plants, a kind of pseudo reprint, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but it has that wild growth ability, very much similar to the Battle from Next Destinies, where 1 energy now acquires 2 energies, for 1 energy now equivalates to 2 energies, and of course this is a reprint of the Neo Meganium in the very long time ago. So for each grass energy attached to your Pokemon, provide 2 grass energies, and you can't apply more than 1 wild growth ability at a time. So if, say, for example, Tiamat's Ogerpon has 4 energy attached to this one, it's equivalent of 8 grass energy attached to this one. So yes, Tiamat's Ogerpon, huge of them, but still, one-hit KO deck will definitely be a thing. Hygrapple will definitely be a thing, which means my favorite Aether version will actually now be a thing to really combat this one. So grass is now going to have a moment, which means fire could definitely come back. Neotone is a really good draw factor for fighting Pokemon, which if you've got Solrock in play, you may get discard 1 basic fighting energy from your hand and draw 3 cards, but you can't play 1 more than Lunar Cycle per turn. One thing a downside about this, you will take up 2 of your bench spaces. We need to wait till you have a really good Solrock for it to come into effect. Could be played in a deck which plays Areas of Underdeck or Skyfield and Expanded, wait for you to have a huge sort of bench or side. But I think it's still really good. A single prize Pokemon which is discard 1, draw 3, we can never really turn that down because that's really strong. We also have Clarista, which I think is a really unique ability, reverse and reload, which is, we always see it the reverse effect. So it's if it hacks to spot and moves to the bench, attach 2 basic water energies from your hand to this Pokemon, and attack Aqua Launch does 210 damage. You discard all energies to this Pokemon. Now, this is powerful. Chuck a Brave Bangle, you're doing 240, which is a good magic number. We have Energy Retrieval, we have Superior Energy Retrieval, we have multiple ways to get our energies back. We have a new Water Stadium card, which lets us switch. Have a free switch for water Pokemon, so I do think this could definitely see some sort of synergy overall. And Gumshoes is basically just a switch card from your hand to top of your deck. This works out Mega Bomber Stone, but definitely something to be really considerate about. Think about how well Oranguru did back in the day. This could definitely see some play. Now let's look at some of the item cards. We have a lot of sort of like the specific type inclusion, which I think is good. Fighting Gong lets you search deck for either a fighting Pokemon, basic fighting Pokemon, or basic fighting energy. I think it's good. Granted, it doesn't say without rulebox, so you can search deck for basic fighting EXs like Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon. Also, it can work well in Cynthia's deck to get out your Gibbles or your fighting energy you need. But I definitely think this could be more synergies with the Mega Lucario EX deck, which are really good at pushing. So Vicious Clock, I think, is what Gardevoir EX is needed to be a single prize board state. You evolve one of your evolved psychic Pokemon by returning any number of evolving cards from that. From your Pokemon into your hand, that Pokemon can't evolve this turn. Well, I think this is good in like a Gardevoir deck. You can like evolve, use all your Psychic Embrace, put all the damage counters you need to have, and then just pick up your Gardevoir, pop it into your hand, leave the Curlier out and play. Now suddenly your opponent has to take 1 prize instead of going with like that easy 2 prize and a Gardevoir on the bench. Or you could go in the make a Gardevoir EX, add what 2 liabilities and play. So I can see some synergies on this deck. I think it's still a very, very powerful card. Good to see some play in Gardevoir. Iron Defender is the classic sort of that damage reduction what metal Pokemon need. It reduces the damage done by 30 to a metal Pokemon, and of course it does affect into new Pokemon that do get put in play and not just the existing ones there. It's an item card, so it will stack. So effectively you can play all 4 Iron Defenders. If arenas correctly, reduce the damage by 120. Pretty strong. And Repel is basically just a Iron Bundle, but for as an item card. So pretty powerful overall, just an escape rope, but one-sided. And finally, looking at some of the most broken cards as well we've got seen, Lieutenant Surge's Bargain. Since I generally can't believe this card got printed, I think it is absolutely powerful, and I do wonder if it could have any sort of printing or repercussion in places where some language barriers might be in. Well, pretty much you get to ask your opponent if you both want to take a prize card. And if they say yes, both players take a prize card, and if they say no, you get to draw 4 cards. What makes this deck incredibly broken is that draw 4 cards. We have not seen that at all in any effects whatsoever. But having those 4 cards just means it's so scary. We've seen Serendipity, which is draw 3. We've seen Shauna, which is shuffle draw till 5. We've never seen a draw 4, like straight away. That is incredibly powerful. That 1 extra card is just crucial just to get some more additional setup, just to get everything working. It's just absolutely powerful. Another thing is about what's so powerful is just taking an additional prize card. This can work well in Industrial decks, Dragapults, Gardevoir can take multiple prize turns. And if there's a chance to bargain to get your 1 extra card you want to have, if you're a Dragapult player, you can go, say, for example, Industrial, KO, take additional prize card, then you're spreading some damage counter around there, get a knockout. You could potentially take like 2 prize cards there. So now you've taken 4 prize cards, and all that came unlocked about it was because the opponent took that 1 extra prize card. This is absolutely terrifying. I'm really intrigued to see how this will really play out when we get to see it, and it's really strong. Lush Forest is also the Forest of Giant Plants pseudo reprint. Why do I say pseudo? Because each player's grass Pokemon could evolve into another grass Pokemon during that Pokemon played into play, but you can't evolve on your first turn. They've definitely learned the light from the last one, which was grass Pokemon could just evolve. Obviously, that came into the next Destiny Shift Tree, which, if you don't know what that does, pretty much make sure that it will just evolve into many strategies that you like. You flip a coin, and if heads, you get to shuffle one of your opponent's Pokemon in play into their deck, and effectively you can just play as many as you want with the Scoop Up Cyclone, Super Scoop Up, AZ, just pretty much pick up and flip as many coins as you want and try and like pretty much make sure your opponent has no Pokemon out in play if you're going first. Fun fact, they did actually do a pseudo reprint of that shift tree in this set, but it is an attack, and it is a grass type, so you can get it out as early as your second turn. So I do think that's a fun sort of play that they've gone around this one. I do think this will see a lot of play. I think grass Pokemon definitely could be on the map right now. Famous Ruin, I think it's a good way to how Mega Absol will work. Even player puts a non-basic dark Pokemon into play, 2 damage counter on that Pokemon, much how it doesn't say from your hand. So I do think likes of Nestball and Really Way Profit, you will have to put some damage counters on that way. And Surfing Beach is a free switch from one of your bench water Pokemon to one of your bench water Pokemon. We go in GLC for a free switch, which generally could be good for Palafin and some Clarissa deck, which I just talked about. Another thing is they did talk about there will be a reprint of Ultra Ball, Rare Candy, and the Boss's Order is going to be in this one, with the I regulation mark. Unsure when we will get this one, probably will be in our Mega Evolution set, but if people were happy that we would say goodbye to us with Boss's Orders, it is still got to stick around. Same thing with Ultra Ball, so for some newer players, it's good for consistency cards. For other sort of people, which I still like Ultra Ball, I think Boss's Orders in the right mind is healthy, so I do like to see we are seeing this one. I know that was a lot of cards to talk about, and again, huge thank you for all of your things you've done, Justin Basil. You really will be missing this community, and thank you very much for sharing all this stuff. And I hope wherever you are resting easy. So now let's look at Gholdengo and why on earth Gholdengo is doing so well in this format. So why is Gholdengo doing well? It's been in the format now for nearly 18 months, coming up to 2 years, and it has two amazing things: the ability coin bonus, draw one card, and if it's an active spot, draw a different more card, make it rain 50 damage, and then discard as many energies as you like. That's not the reason why it's doing so well. It gained 2 incredibly new cards. The first one being Genesect. The way for uses on once during your turn, get a search check for 2 evolved metal Pokemon and put them into your hand. What makes it so great is now you don't use Team Evolution, and if you use it on your first turn, especially if you're going first, you force your opponent to Iona you. You force them to judge. Because if not, well, you're using it again to get another Gholdengo and potentially a Sizzle, or generally just another a full Gholdengo. So now suddenly you've got all your setup completely. You don't need to rely on having that Team Evolution and having that Arvin to just get it out to this one. You have much more higher outs to get out your Genesect from the Nets Ball, which from the Ultra Ball, so you're in a much greater sort of spot. Air Balloon is perfect for Gholdengo. Gholdengo only really played 1 switch and 2 churros to really move it around the active spot. And what made Gholdengo so difficult, it does have that 2 retreat cost. So having Air Balloon basically effectively gives Gholdengo that free retreat. So now so that you can coin bonus on the first turn, on one of the Gholdengos, and then you can free retreat into another Gholdengo to draw 2 more cards. So you can basically get that pixel effect of coin bonus twice, which is absolutely insane and really has unlocked the deck a lot. So now you're not sacrificing your support of a turn, or pretty much as well, to get either Arvin or Churro to switch out Gholdengo, which is trapped in the active spot. That is definitely having that sort of Regidrago moment. I was talking about it in some people. Regidrago last year was definitely much more of an under the radar pick because I, myself, Justin, went a huge testing for Worlds. We were talking about Charizard Justin was going to be the deck. It's going to be the most powerful deck right now. Everyone was kind of going this one. But lo and behold, just as we were finishing the format in Japan, Regidrago was really kind of picking up and up. And then we got a new format they did, similar to how Mega Evolution is going to be. So now Gholdengo is having that moment. It's becoming really popular over in our format, as well as also in Japan. And we've really kind of seen that come to fruition. If we look at Japan Championships, it did get 2 top 16 spaces, and it was at 5%. Pretty good for a day 2, sort of showing up 98 sort of decks, or 96 decks. So Gholdengo is already doing very well. It gained those 2 new cards and really made it a lot more popular. In the first week, it was at 5% after 513 sort of results recorded in the winning one, which is pretty powerful. And then fast forward all the way to this week, after 1,300 sort of results being saved, it is now 13.2%, a huge sort of increase of like over 8%. So it's definitely one of the most popular sort of archetypes right now. It's incredibly powerful, incredibly strong, and we can even see that case in our format right now, being one of pretty much the most popular deck, has a meta share of nearly 11.23%, and has a count of playing with it over 250, nearly 250 more than the second place one. So why on earth is Gholdengo doing it so well? How on earth is this happening? Well, the format in Japan has changed sporadically and completely since then. When we saw Japan Championship, this was back in early sort of June. So this was quite a while ago. We've seen the format really evolve a lot more. Gholdengo is definitely kind of seen as a much stronger sort of play. It's a deck which definitely gained that really strong factor of a single price attacking option. I've always had this one. You might go, Charlie, that's not the reason why. But when we think about the decks which do really well, God of War, Dragapult, we think about Raging Bolt, as well as also minus Grimmsnarl. They do have a kind of single price attacking option, whether it be the main attacker, whether it be a stalling strategy, whether it be sort of a way to limit the opponent's sort of resources, and it really helps them in their game strategy. Now Gholdengo can really actively utilize Sizzle. Sizzle's downside beforehand, it had that 2 retreat cost. Now we have that rare airplane, it now has that 3 retreat cost. You have the Cypher to have that 3 retreat as well. You have the Graphic to actually get the cards you need to have. So I think it's a really, really good sort of way around this one. The new cards have completely unlocked Gholdengo. It was already very powerful, it was already very strong, but it also, it just needed that Genesis Air Blue. And it really just made Gholdengo go from basically a tier 3 archetype to pretty much be that tier 1 tier sort of deck. It is incredibly strong right now. It can do incredibly well with a lot of the new threats. We talked about basically nearly a month ago about Maractus, TM Devo, and Basket, why these cards are so powerful, why you should be playing at World. Gholdengo has a great answer against all of this one, which I'm going to mention just a little bit. That's a deck that does incredibly well the more you play. This is basically now, everyone talks about, oh, this is just the Metal Shenpao. This is the Metal Shenpao. It's very, very strong. It's a deck which really does reward you the more games you put in. I know people which I've been testing with a lot, like Justin. He's really thinking that Gholdengo is a good sort of pick. There's so many different decks right now in the format right now, but we established a long time ago that Gholdengo is really, really strong. And I'd like to see that people are also recognizing that. So it's good to see that this deck is really having this moment. I mentioned for about the threats and how else does it do well? What's the answer? Well, against Maractus, they can trap something in extra spot, they can trap a Gholdengo. Yes, they may not be doing damage because of resistance, but they just easily can trap something. Well, the deck normally plays like 2 Churro. So you can easily just pick up guy, let's go straight into a fresh Gholdengo, which has the energy, and then KO the Maractus. Yes, you take the damage back, but you get rid of that threat. Against likes of item lock, whether it be Badu, whether it be Frillish, you play Levencia now. Levencia is a really good stadium card, which just gets your deck to such a powerful 2 lightning energies and put them back into your hand, which is really, really powerful. And then KO the likes of Badu, which needs 1 lightning energy, and Frillish, which needs 2. It's a good way to like get some energy recovery, so you don't have to rely on like some superior energy retrieval or that energy retrieval. And of course, against Team Devo play, you have Picnic Basket and Monkey Dory. Picnic Basket obviously is great because it heals everyone 30 damage, so it can protect your Gholdengos and also removes all that Monkey Dory damage they potentially might be building up. And of course, you have your own Monkey Dory as well to move that 30 damage count around the field to get that instant sort of heal factor as well, which I think is really good. When we think about what Dragapult really does to try and get the win against Gholdengo, they want to obviously do 200 damage to the active and 60 to the bench. Pick the basket Monkey removes that threat. You can even Churro the active one. Now also you've got no damage counter around this one, and a good way to play around that Team Devo plays. Again, looking at the matchup line, we can see here that it does incredibly well. Look at all those sort of positive matchups against Minus Grimmsnarl, Raging Bolt, God of War, Dragapult, another God of War, Jolted Box, Rhydon. It's just so powerful in so many different ways. We can see the decks that really struggles with are ones that actually utilize fire energies. Of course, we have the likes of Aethys Diversion, a bad one, Dragapult Charizard, because I think it can struggle. I know they do play some fights, it's fire sort of energies, attacking options, but mainly the likes of the Charizard decks don't really play them. But Flareon as well does obviously build around a fire type so attacking option. So we are seeing that Gholdengo just works incredibly well into all of these sort of decks. Is this a huge resource factor? It has unlimited output, it has great draw factors. It's so powerful. And that can be seen in some of these lists as well. We've got to look at some lists in Japan. It's also how that's really implemented our format as well. Now, it's a more sort of common build we've seen over Japan. They are normally playing 1 or 2 of the continuous coin toss and gimmickle. We haven't seen this in quite a while, and we've definitely seen it kind of pick up a little bit more. You're always used to the Aaron one to get some basic energies, but now we're seeing continuous coin toss potentially get you a free sort of game as well. We've seen 2 Genesex in most of the decks, so I think you don't really want to prize it. I've seen some lists play the redeemable tickets, so you can actually guarantee you can get out another Genesex in case you prize it. But we are seeing that it's definitely the best way to play this one is going for that 2-off. We're seeing that 1 local Levencia. We're seeing that no Picnic Basket in here, but we are seeing the Air Balloon and the 2 Churro. So we're seeing a lot of the cards I talked about, people are utilizing it. But you're not just sometimes playing just as a build, you can also play some fun builds as well. My favorite Pokemon, of course, is Togekiss. So it's really nice to see that it kind of has come back into this one. We can see here, this build is much more heavy on the boss's orders, with the 4 boss's orders, the 1 counter catcher. We're in a form which also plays a lot of single prize sort of support Pokemon. Sorry, support Pokemon that evolve into things. So you can really capitalize on this one with Togekiss, it's playing with single prizes, and sometimes Big additional prize, which is really strong. You're still seeing the 2 copies of Genesect because it's just that crucial. If we're playing 1 less Genesect than we are Gholdengo, because people really valuing Genesect that much, only playing likes of a Team Evolution. But again, with the 3 Air Balloon, because you want to make sure none of your Pokemon do get trapped. Another one, we've seen a Dragapult. We've seen this play multiple times before. This was a play which lots of people thought about. It's done well over in Japan. I think it's got top 16 at Champions League recently. So we're still seeing it works well overall. It has some of the key pieces I talked about, having the 2 Churro, having the Air Balloon, having the 2 Genesect. So we're seeing all of these themes, having full superior energy retrieval, having counter catcher, having high counter supporters orders. This one here does play 2 energy. They also always have 1 to discard, but also 1 on the Monkey Dory at all times to move around to navigate that 30 damage counter on that Gholdengo. So I do think we are seeing a lot of these similarities overall. And even if you want a more draw factor, you can have like so Rillaroom. We also have the Cicero as well. So I think the Rillaroom, what makes this deck so well with the Withia is you get this energy, get recovery, discard one, and draw into have 6 cards in front. This can work well if you get Iona to 1 or get Judge and you're like, oh, I have a really sort of bad hand. I can Leventia and now get that energy. I don't need to rely on like a superior energy retrieval or a Left Vessel. I hopefully will have my stadium card out and play, and I can just get out, discard it, and then draw 5 potentially cards. So I really like what this has to offer. I think this is a really strong sort of way, a good way to protect your Gholdengos. We are seeing, of course, in nearly all of these ones, that split between that Gimmighoul. So again, you should really be thinking, which one should you be playing? We're seeing Churro in here, we're seeing Air Balloon. Only 1 off in this one, so definitely a little bit low, but we're seeing the Picnic Basket. So there's so many different of these decks which play all these key sort of pieces. We're seeing that similarity. So when we look at Limitless, this person that won a 250 person event yesterday, there is a lot of similarities. They're playing a split of Gimmighoul. They're playing 2 copies of Genesect. They're playing the other Genesect, which if it's got a tool card, shuts down the opponent's Aspect, which is probably why there's tool scrap in this one to answer that response. We're seeing that 3 Air Balloon, we're seeing the Leventia, we're seeing the 2 Churros, we're seeing the high boss count, we're seeing the Picnic Basket, we're seeing the 2 Lightning, we're seeing Rigid Band, which is great against the Mirror Match if we're expecting lots of Gholdengo. So we're seeing so many similarities. If you just look at all the decks here, looking at Japan, people have really understood the format and it definitely has become the best deck right now. Just looking at this sort of format here, you can see all the testing that's going in Japan's meta game, all the sort of theory crafting everyone's done is really kind of like outputted into this one list. So generally just looking ahead, Gholdengo be the most popular deck at Worlds in just a few weekends time. I generally think it could be. It's not good. I don't think it's going to be a 25% archetype, but it could be a 10%er. I think it could be one of the top sort of decks right now. In Japan, obviously, they do get their Mega Evolution set coming out next. Which is Friday, so we're talking about that next week. But we are going to see that sort of differences in sort of that sort of discrepancies. Another one is what could we tech against for Worlds? Could we see more fire types be in there? Could we see Legacy Energy and Gholdengo? So now suddenly have to go through all 4 Gholdengos instead of just a 2-2-2 strategy. And could this generally just win Worlds? Is Genesect and Air Balloon and Sizzle enough for this to build? It already techs for most of the metagame right now. Do we really expect Gholdengo to win? So I've really enjoyed doing these sort of deep sort of dives into looking at this one specific archetype, which is Gholdengo, and I hope you guys have as well. Just to say thank you so much for the support on the channel. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you are testing over for World, definitely let me know what you are testing for. What do you think of your match against Gholdengo, or is it an archetype that you're thinking about playing? Again, thank you so much, and I will see you guys in a few days' time because I've got some more tabletop action coming soon. For now.